Hello, everyone. How are you all? How was drinks last night? Did everyone enjoy Cloud Onyx drinks? Yeah. Woo! Okay. I mean, I know it's 4 minutes past 9, but normally you're all working by now, so you should be awake, right? So, what are we on now? Technically day 3. I've been told by a couple of people that they don't understand the stickers. You're holding it wrong. You're pulling it wrong. I don't know. So you should have all got a nice sticker. I should not have to explain stickers to highly intelligent engineers. This is quite frankly demeaning for me. Anyway, so you should have all got a sticker on your bed. If you did not get a sticker, you can come and find me and I will give you a sticker. They are very nice stickers, and I really want to see one on every single laptop by the time you all go home. So this is very important to me. You might think, I should have asked for like an ear thing. I didn't really think about this at all. You might think you might just peel off the front and it would just work, right? No, that's not it. It's a transfer sticker. So you want to pull from the back, the white bit at the back, you want to pull that really gently. Really gently. And the sticker will remain on the translucent bit. This is really funny, considering I'm having to hold a mic. There we go. Thank you, Jason. So you should have a sticker on translucent, right? You've done it slow enough. It should still be there. No, it's fine. Thank you, Jason. And then what you do, anywhere I want. No. No. I want it on. Sorry, Aaron. But all of the other ones, I'll come and do it in a second for you. It's okay. It's okay. I know that you're struggling. I'll come help you in a sec. All of these are really straight, so I'm gonna go completely off-piste and do it at an angle onto the moustache. I feel so good. That feels so good. And then you just pull it off really slowly. And then you get a nice ComCon sticker. I don't think I've ever been applauded for putting a sticker on something before. It feels so good. Okay. Can I get Chris's laptop up, please? So, first announcement was the all-important sticker, and the second announcement, when Chris's laptop screen appears, as if by magic. So a couple of people were asking me for the Lightning Talks URL. I made it too complicated by making it 5 characters. So we've made it longer. bit.ly/cc-lightning-talks. So if you want to do Lightning Talks, so you've got 7 minutes to talk about anything you want that I deem appropriate, important caveat, then submit there. David Duffett said that he was going to compare the Lightning Talks for me. So that will be hilarious. Lightning Talk full of stuff, and then David Duffett making jokes, and then another Lightning Talk, then David Duffett making another joke. It'll be really good. So I'm really looking forward to that. What other announcements do I have? Board games and games tonight. So yeah, we've got board games tonight, and computer games. So we've got an Xbox One X. We've got a PlayStation 4 with a PlayStation VR headset. We've got a Nintendo Switch and a load of board games. And Chris has a Magic Leap 1, 2 Magic Leap 1s with him. If you don't know what a Magic Leap 1 is, I'm sure Chris is going to tell you. It's awesome. So he's going to have those tonight as well. So we're going to do dinner first tonight so that everyone can just play games afterwards. It wouldn't feel right to like play games for an hour, then have dinner, and then go back to games. So we've switched it. So dinner after the last sessions-ish, and then board games / video games. I think that's all that I needed to tell you. So all that I have left to do is introduce Chris. Chris, I think I've been, air quote, internet friends with Chris for a very, very long time. And then I got the pleasure of meeting him in person 3 years ago at AstraCon. Was it 3 years? Chris, I'm not going to talk too much about Chris because I'm sure he'll intro himself very, very well. But he's got a very checkered history, a long Internet of Things and WebRTC, and everything he touches seems to do really well. and then he sells companies and he's just really good at what he does. And then he drives motorbikes at the weekend, really cool motorbikes. And then he goes and talks at events and about really cool things. Then he goes to makers meets and makes really cool things. And he puts all of this stuff on Facebook, and I'm like, how much time do you have in your day? So I'm going to stop talking about Chris and let Chris talk about Chris. So Chris is from Magic Leap. I think Magic Leap is a really, really cool company. I thought they were really cool before they started doing what they're currently doing. And then Chris joined them, and they've just been doing even more cool stuff. So I'm really happy to have Chris here. Everyone give Chris a round of applause. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gano. That's humbling and awkwardly embarrassing. But thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I probably know about almost half of you guys from AstraCon events and industry events. So it's been amazing to be here with you, catching up, because it's been a little while. As Dan mentioned, I have built and sold 5 companies to date, and kind of going backwards. I don't want to like spend too much time on this, but they're related to how I met you guys. The first 2 were telecom related. The Digital Voice Technologies was one of the first voice XML browser companies on the market. We built a voice XML browser technology. SIP-based, I learned a lot about telecom with this company. We sold it to Ideas and Associates. After selling that, started seeing Twilio, the success of Twilio and Tropo and the telecom APIs. So took what we learned from voice XML and kind of did it a little bit differently. We created a cloud API company called Teleku, but we transcoded or transpiled live REST APIs to voice XML. So it was kind of a different approach, but it ran on all the voice XML browsers in the industry, including Asterisk. So that's how I started meeting people here with Asterisk and running Teleku, and it was ultimately acquired by Voxeo and the Tropo guys, which were then acquired by Cisco. Like Dan, I've also been into Node.js for a very long time. I met Ryan Dahl, the creator of it, at a conference when it was on version 0.2. And one of the problems I saw back then was that there was a lot of JavaScript developers building, this new asynchronous, server-side applications, but there was nowhere to deploy those applications. So built Nodester, which was the world's first Node.js platform as a service. Sold that to AppFog and then ultimately CenturyLink. Played a lot with WebRTC, had a company that almost we farmed called Twellophone that was basically Skype-like in the browser, but it used Twitter as the directory. We called it Twellophone, kind of catchy, but couldn't find a way to make money at that. Everyone was giving away WebRTC conferencing for free, so we pivoted into Internet of Things, created Octoblue, which was a cross-protocol Internet of Things company. We sold it to Citrix, and we did go to AstraCon 3 years ago, and it was in Phoenix. And we won one of James Bodie's Dangerous Demo Awards, the Swan Award. We connected Asterisk to Canon and shot T-shirts into the audience, all using asterisk. So that was kind of fun. And then after that, started a company called Computes, which I have a slide of a bunch of press. Computes was Computes.com. It was a decentralized, distributed mesh computing platform. One of the things we noticed back in the IoT days was these projections. Like 2020, like next year, there's supposed to be 30 to 50 billion IoT devices all connected. So we kept looking at this. It's like they're idle. Like all of these devices chirp every 15 minutes, and other than that, they're idle. So we built this platform that kind of organically, it ran on anything, Windows, Mac, Linux, and we were going to do mobile next. And it discovered all these nodes organically discovered one another and then computed with one another to basically form a organic supercomputer, if you will. They could span, all the computers in the world or a job site, and they just they had no parent, no centralized server to control them, so they were essentially unstoppable. So we were kind of pitching this as infinite computing power, which as I start talking about Magic Leap and the Magic Verse and the AI required to do this, it'll start making sense how this infinite computing comes into play. So who is Magic Leap? I've been having fun, people seeing my badge. A lot of people haven't heard of Magic Leap, at least in this arena. It's the world's leading spatial computing company. Well, what's a spatial computing company? Because it's a brand new field, and we're still technically a startup. We've been in business 8 years and have had over a couple of billions of dollars worth of funding. We've built some amazing technology, which I'm going to show you a lot of technology. But I want to define spatial computing first. So you guys have all been familiar with VR. That's probably 1 or 2 decades worth of existence out there. It's this kind of virtual world where you put on goggles that you cannot see through, but you'll get to experience them tonight at game night, where you see this whole virtual reality environment. Then along came augmented reality, where you're all probably familiar with Pokemon Go, being able to overlay digital content in the real world. That's really cool. I think that opened up the public's eyes to augmented reality. Spatial computing, sometimes we refer to it as mixed reality, but the idea is that the glasses, you'll see in a minute, they've got dozens of sensors on them. They mesh the room in real time. They understand through computer vision all the physics of the room, like in seconds. It understands those are chairs, tables, and it can mix reality, digital content into reality. So like in this little slide here, the little robot can hide behind a sofa or crawl under a coffee table in your house. And over the 8 years, this was kind of the evolution of the platform. It started off as this thing they admirably call the Beast. You would put your head in it, kind of like a Clockwork Orange kind of torture device. And what its main purpose was just to see a green dot moving around. But the idea is that your brain sees it. There's not a display. That was the whole goal. Could you turn your brain into a display? So that was successful. It evolved into the Cheesehead, affectionately called Cheesehead platform. And then some tethered devices. And then ultimately in August, we released the ML1, the Magic Leap 1, which I've got 2 of these for tonight at game night. We'll have a lot of fun with that. So what is an ML1? Well, I mentioned earlier it's got Lightwear, which is the glasses. Lots of sensors in here. Not only is it aware of the world, the physical world, there's also sensors inside looking at your eyes. So it's aware of where you are looking and can interact with content based on where you're looking. There's also AI that understands your emotions by looking at your eyes to tell how you're engaged with the digital content. There's a light pack that you wear on your belt that's tethered to the glasses, but it's wireless. It's Bluetooth and Wi-Fi from the computer. I think it's got 6 ARM CPU cores on it and 256 NVIDIA GPU cores on it. It's quite a powerful little computing unit. And then there is a controller that's got 6 degrees of freedom, voice inputs, hand gesture controls, so it's pretty advanced. When we were being entertained about the acquisition to join Magic Leap, they showed us all their demos, and they started with this one. They walked us out in the back, the back of the property, to this door that had a rebellion, a Star Wars Rebel Forces sticker on the door. And we walk inside, and it's a room about this size with nothing in it. And we're like, what's going on here? And we got to put on some of the Magic Leap glasses, and we instantly were in the middle of a Star Wars Rebellion attack with the AT-AT, the big Star Wars machines with the legs. It was walking out front, shooting holes through the ceiling, stuff falling down. There was IoT involved, so there was lighting and vents that would blow at you. And we saw an X-Wing fighter like right in front of us with guys in orange suits running all around us. After that, there's no way you can go to a movie theater again and watch a regular movie. You were in the Star Wars Rebellion with real AT-ATs outside of the complex, firing holes through the ceiling and rocks falling down in front of you. I was like, where do we sign? This is absolutely amazing. This is what I want to do. I've got a couple of videos to show you. This one's a couple minutes long. The beginning of it is one of our first games, and you'll get to play it tonight. It's called Dr. G. And basically, there's these robots that create a portal on a wall, and they're building more robots in their universe to come into your space to kill you. And you have a ray gun, and your job is to kill all the robots. But they're coming out in your space. Imagine this in your living room. They're hiding under your coffee table. They're climbing on your couch. They're hiding behind your couch. So watch that in the video, how they interact with the real space. The last half of the video, it's about a minute, is more futuristic. That's not filmed on device. So the first half is filmed on device, the second off. So let me show you what that looks like. So you'll get to play that tonight. It's a lot of fun. So this is an interesting, and you kind of might be wondering, how does this even tie into ComCon? As we keep talking about what's coming next, start thinking about WebRTC and multi-user and edge compute and So I'm just going to tease you with that for now. But if you look at this trend, this is interesting. And we saw James talk about 5G. A lot of other people are talking about 5G. But there's this convergence happening. Like if you look at 3G, 4G, laptops, mobile devices, social networking, was really fueled by mobile devices. Now this age of wearable computing. So matched up with this high bandwidth, low latency, 5G edge computing capabilities, all tied together, you potentially have this new era of compute, spatial computing. So what we think about, the devices themselves have been very successful. This August, it will be 1 year since the devices are on the market. They're available to buy. Creators, there's thousands of developers building really cool new spatial computing apps, both entertainment and enterprise commercial style applications. We've built this out saying the hardware is interesting, and we're going to continue to focus on new sensor technology, new gestures, voice control, i.e. WebRTC and other technologies. So the sensors is the core business. But when you start thinking about 5G and what else we can do with the platform, this is getting really exciting, and this is where compute started coming into play. If you think of the live stream is this idea that you see the world, but the computer sees you. The computer is watching you interact with the world. So think about maybe being able to replay your kid's first steps or something, and at the point where these are getting really light, like normal glasses that everyone's wearing these things around. You'll be able to replay things, or it'll be able to attach biosensors with actual events, or maybe medical. It might be able to unlock medical improvements in the future. We're very interested in human-centered artificial intelligence, and you'll see in some of my talks why. So I'm going to touch more on Micah. She is a real digital person that lives in the world. You have to see her with the glasses, but she is very human. And then we have the Magic Verse, which is kind of the lead into really the rest of the slides. What is the Magic Verse? The Magic Verse, you can kind of think about it as a destination. You can think about it as a system of systems. Really, it's this convergence of all of this technology in a world where you've got physical and digital combined. So if you look at like this city of the future, this is not far away. I mean, there's a lot of smart cities in the Middle East and around the world that are coming online. If you kind of look at this and say, what if we could take a digital twin of that city? What if we could work with mapping companies and using LiDAR or drones? What if we could map a real digital twin, matrix-like environment of that real world? And what if we could keep it in sync with the real world? So in other words, if something changes in the physical world, it changes in the digital twin in real time, and possibly vice versa. What if you have people interacting in the space, and then all of a sudden, the digital twin delivers digital content in the real world, kind of like you saw in the robots. They're aware of the physics, they're floating. What if 5G and high bandwidth, what if you're allowed to have people start holoporting around the world? Like you could be in New York, but physically show up in this smart city and walk around with the real people walking around and interacting with the digital content and the AI. This is starting to get very interesting, and this is the Magic Verse. A more practical example of that is a construction site. I used to work for Bechtel, multi-billion-dollar construction site, years of engineering, creating smart cities like this. There are some workers out at the site. They're looking at the current state of the construction project, create a digital twin of that whole environment, and now be a colleague, maybe from Tokyo, can now visit the site with the real people at the site. But she's basically a holoporting through Magic Verse over 5G. Now, what if you could take the design of what they're building and basically glue that to the real building and say it's there for 12 months, whatever the length of the construction project is, and it's always there so that you have a reference, or maybe you can turn it off or on, or maybe only certain people can see certain things. Like maybe the people that are designing the rooms can actually see the metadata associated with the rooms to see what type of scale or what type of furnishings need to be applied, as that building comes online. What if there's another layer that all the telecom providers could see where all of the 5G antennas need to go, or where the amenities of this smart city are going to be? All of this shows up on top. What if you wanted to look at traffic patterns and do traffic analysis or simulations of what traffic's going to look like in this smart city, or wind prediction around the new skyscrapers? All of that lives in real time in the Magicverse as layers, which I'm going to talk about here next. Creating this smart city, this digital, physical, blended content of a smart city together. So this is the U.S., and we're working with AT&T as one of our investors. We're working with them and others around 5G hotspots across the United States. Once these sites are online and interconnected, now we're talking back to the holoportation. We're talking being able to hop around from Chicago to LA to Phoenix to Miami, all in minutes, being able to hop around and explore other environments. Imagine this place where the seat next to you, someone just joins you in that seat from Tokyo. That's what's coming when you start looking at all of the rest of the sites coming online with 5G. You'll be able to move across space and time as a holoportation in the Magicverse, and now economies of scale are infinite instead of physical. So here's kind of how it works. You've got this is like an amusement park, but you've got the physical layer of the world. You've got an Internet of Things sensor layer of the world. So all of you that are still working in IoT, this is still extremely relevant and still extremely important in this space. Over the top of the sensor layer is the digital twin. It's like the ghost in the machine layer that glues all of this together. The glue is the Magicverse operating system. So we have a city-scale, planet-scale operating system that's gluing all of this together and keeping everything in sync. So when something happens in the IoT, it can update physical and digital and vice versa across all these layers. On top of the digital twin are all of these layers of spatial applications that you will be able to be building soon that stack up infinitely tall as layers on top of the digital twin. So you might have a communications layer, an energy layer, an entertainment, healthcare, mobility. You might have a whole game as a layer in the real world. So this is what type of spatial computing is bringing to market. What does that look like? What if you can have full-scale NBA basketball stars running on your high school gymnasium or your basketball court in your neighborhood? You could see these with not only our glasses, but the goal is what's called XR, cross reality, where you could hold your iPhone up or your Android or your tablet up and see these real life-size basketball stars all shooting hoops, in your local gymnasium. Say again? What's basketball? All right, football, footy ball. What if you're in an arena and now you can look at that life-size scale esports events falling through the ceiling, buses and people and astronauts with space shuttles at scale. I mean, if you've got the glasses on, it's hands-free. You're just looking around and seeing all of this, bus come through the ceiling, like I talked about the X-Wing fighter. This is where it gets phenomenally exciting. What if you could unleash like a superhero movie or something on the streets of London? this is all coming, and not only when you, as a developer, you could almost think of it as you don't deploy to a device anymore. Like we had the React Native, and we talked about all the complications of deploying, like especially native code to devices. What if you could deploy to the city, deploy to the Magicverse, deploy to the world, and all of this is just automatic? Like all devices that are Magicverse powered, spatial computing devices just automatically participate and see what's going on and interact with what's going on. What if you're in this environment and real life movie creatures come to life? What if you see your favorite movie animations coming to life and they're living and breathing and talking like out in the woods? What if you're not there? What if they continue to live in the woods even when you're not there, even when you don't have your devices on? We have these creatures and things that roam the Magic Leap offices at night, all during the day, and just because you're not wearing devices doesn't mean that they're not evolving and they're not talking and they're not doing things in the offices. That's real. I'm going to show you another video clip that gets into the human-centered AI. Her name is Micah. She started off as a real model that we scanned, and we've been applying a lot of human-centered artificial intelligence to her. She doesn't speak yet. It's all nonverbal. She's nonverbal. But I've met her several times. She gets more amazing every time I meet her. There's a quick little demo that she's going to show because it applies to a couple more slides I have of the Magicverse, what it evolves like with AI built in. So I'm gonna talk over it a little bit while I play it. So let me mute this. There. So she was at Sundance. We're bringing her to more and more conferences. She's sitting in that chair. Notice there's a chair there. She's sitting in it. She knows that there's a table there. She can see what this other real person is seeing. She knows where your eyes are looking. She said, hey, come follow me. She knows if you're following her or not. She makes her go pick up a controller. Look how she navigates around the chair. Look at her shadows on the wall are correct. She knows about the table. She's going to walk this lady through like a little exercise, a collaboration exercise. But she's teaching her. She's like interacting with her. She's like, it's like, what do I do? Okay, well, let me show you. You see this? You put that there. Pick that up. Stick it on the wall. Takes this lady a little while to figure out that she's supposed to do it too. But she's patient. When you just stand there and you look at Micah, like when I was introduced to her for the first time, it was again an empty warehouse. She comes walking out of some back door, like right up to me, and she's standing like 3 feet in front of me. And one of the guys that was showing me the demo, he said, "Take a step closer to her." I was like, "Okay." Took a step closer to her, and like a human, you're kind of invading her space. She kind of makes this face, and she takes a step back. I was like, oh my gosh. That was like the first version I saw, and she's got facial expressions like 30 or 40 or 50 facial expressions. She breathes. She sees where you're looking. You look like this, and she kind of looks counter back at you. Look how she'll put that controller back down on the table. So it's a it's a digital controller she's holding. But I just love how all of the physics, look right there, how all the physics are there, the shadows are there. Soon you'll be able to sit across from her and plan your next vacation trip, at your dining room table with your significant other. Look how excited she is. We did it. that pretty cool? So imagine what the world would be like. You know, I showed you earlier, like the animals in the forest that are living. What if we could skin London to look like Gotham City? And what if Batman, Catwoman, superheroes were running around in Gotham City, and whether you had the glasses or not, they were keeping the streets clean or working, fighting crime in London. That's the human-centered AI that's always living in the magic verse, always alive, even when you're not there looking at it. That's some of the capabilities coming. Joker. What if we could be playing tonight at board night? What if we could get a little group together and play Godzilla and friends at a table with real, and this is at like maybe 1/20th scale. And like at a tabletop, playing Godzilla and F-15s flying overhead, and create this real war that we're fighting each other on a tabletop. What if that tabletop is connected to the real city of Tokyo? And at scale, a 200-foot Godzilla is like walking down the streets of Tokyo, and you're controlling him and fighting with him on the table in front of you. That's potentially what we're talking about the magic verse. It's coming soon. Not tomorrow, but we're working on this technology right now. We've got it timed, so as more 5G rollouts happen, we're able to sync a lot of the magic verse capabilities, multi-user capabilities, all together with the rollouts. So it's coming. I've got one more. I think we're okay with time. I have one more video. Who's watched Game of Thrones? I've got a Game of Thrones demo we can play tonight as well. It's the White Walker that comes out of a wall to try to kill you, and you're like he's got a sword. And he's following you around. Like as you're walking away, he's following you around wherever you go, and you've got to stab him and kill him. But here's an example that's being rolled out in all of the AT&T stores across the United States right now. Let me show you what that looks like. There's the White Walker. Well, that's my life. My new life over the past 9 months has been all of this exciting new world of spatial computing, and I feel like every adventure I've had leading up to this, from comms to IoT to commercial experience, and now spatial and edge computing, it all ties together in this new vision. There's going to be tons of opportunities for engineers that want to get into this space, whether it's AI, whether it's comms, whether it's edge compute, 5G. It's a very amazing time to be involved in spatial computing. So you'll get to try it out tonight. Looking forward to getting your feedback on that tonight. And I think we have time for questions. Dan, are we still okay on questions? Okay, so maybe a microphone. I don't know if we need a mic to walk around.
First man with a question, and there is a microphone.
Great tech. I counted at least 5 movie references there, maybe more. So I want to add one more, Black Mirror. So how would you envision holoporting immigration border enforcement control?
Oh my gosh.
Working, because I would be prevented from going to certain countries and so forth. So you can't, like a wall hitting your face.
We were just talking about session border control. I don't know. Now we're talking immigration border control. I think it's a free world, man. I think you'll be able to hollow port anywhere you want. That has 5G. Yeah. Why not? That's a great question, by the way. Thank you. Randy.
I always have questions.
I know you do.
But this one's pretty simple. This is coming from what I've lived in my own age, okay? This is all great, and it's not reality, but I get it. But what I would like to know is, will this be able to help people who have like zero mobility? I don't want to say handicap, but suppose you can't move, you're in a wheelchair, maybe the Stephen Hawking type, to be able to live something. And what are the other applications besides the obvious elephant in the room that nobody will mention, that has 4 letters and starts with P and ends with N, and has OR in the middle? No, but besides a game or this artificial world, which you have to admit is a little bit frightening too, because people are going to lose track of the real world.
I think it is reality. I think what we're doing is we're blending the best of digital and the best of physical together. And I think like a Stephen Hawking's example, he could teleport and live anywhere he wanted to live. I saw, we do a lot of hackathons. We did a recent one with AT&T where one of the hacks, was a weekend hack, came out of it, where it was an application for the blind, for the visually impaired. And the idea is if the glasses understand the room, and it understands the paths, the tables, the chairs, the doors, the blind person wears the glasses and it navigates them through the room without a cane. I was thinking and they did that in a weekend. So I was like, there's tons, and you know, from an enterprise perspective, yeah, I mean, we did a lot of talk about entertainment today, but from an enterprise perspective, Citrix is in the room. We can run any Citrix or VMware Windows, virtualized Windows session of any Windows app, you know, in the browser through the glasses. So tons of practical, even modeling. Like if you're building something, you can pull a 3D model out of a web page, put it in front of you, and collaborate together with your peers, either locally or peers hollow ported, you know, together, turning and interacting with this device in 3D. So you'll see some of those demos tonight too. I think it's reality. And
what is the minimum requirement to participate? It's vision, I guess, right now.
It's vision right now.
Maybe hearing, if there's sound.
There is spatial audio too. So like spatial compute, the spatial audio, if there's something behind you, it sounds like it's behind you. So that's a very interesting new field that there's a lot of research and development going into.
As long as you can see and hear for today,
yeah,
you take advantage of all this mobility.
And the plan is to be fully XR compliant, which means your iPhones, Androids, tablets, those will all participate in the Magicverse. You'll just get a better experience with the glasses. Okay. Hands-free. Sam? Sorry.
I was really fascinated to see the way you were putting layers on. So you'd got the ability for telecoms companies, for example, to see infrastructure.
Yep.
Can you take that down to building level? So, for example, in this room, could an engineer wear that and look and see where all the air conditioning ducts or the network cables are?
Exactly.
And what are the reference points for that when you're wearing the glasses? Is it just GPS and a compass, or does it have... Do you put like transponders in the room so you know exactly where you're looking with better accuracy?
Yep, so there's a couple of things in there. So there is a sense of ownership and permissions associated with the layers. So you could say only these engineers can see these floors or these types of layers that are in the physical world. You asked me another question. What was the second part? Oh, thank you. So GPS. So it does leverage GPS, but also this new thing that Google's spearheading and a few other companies called VPS, Visual Positioning Systems. So like if you're indoors, as you mesh, it understands what this room looks like and can affix a layer on top of this room spatially. So as another colleague walks in from that side of the room, she sees the same room. but it can do the deltas and relocalization where everyone sees the same digital content from different angles of the room collaboratively. So,
Use that on construction sites
yes,
and have it build as
Yeah.
the building's going in place.
yeah. I mean, this in my like to Randy's point, I think that this is the new reality. Like the convergence of digital and physical together are going to create a whole new set of opportunities and tools to be better, live better, construct better, work better. Yes.
Going back to the kind of comms use cases and the conferencing, you said you can teleport in. The thing that I've always seen with that is it's a great way of like, I can see a projection in the room, but other people to be able to see me. Kind of things like avatars. So how do you see it like, will I create a virtual avatar that sits in this work meeting, or is the system able to basically recognize me? So if I decide to put on whatever t-shirt I put on today at home and then go and sit in a virtual meeting with the office in San Francisco, will they see that t-shirt? Or, you know, are we going to end up with people sat in meetings where you've got a panda, a crocodile, and a whatever anybody else has chosen to be for that meeting? You know, are we going to actually have, they're not going to be, are we going to be actually the real human being? Because if you and me are both wearing glasses and we're seeing, will we see each other, or will we see whatever avatar representation we've decided to create of ourselves?
All of the above, depending on what the developer wants to build in that application. So, for instance, we have an avatar chat today that you can draw your own avatar, put a mustache on it, whatever, purple hair, whatever you want.
I have hard enough time deciding what I'm going to wear in the morning, let alone what my avatar's then going to wear. It's like double the work, isn't it?
Yeah, so you could do that. You could also do like a 3D scan that's your avatar. He's your best looking avatar. You know, you've actually taken time to like dress nice for a day, and that's your best avatar. But we just acquired a company called Mimesis, and they've got real-time holographic capabilities for Magic Leap, where I think they're doing things with even like Raspberry Pi type cameras, and it doesn't require a lot. Maybe a couple of cameras, 2 or 3 or 4 cameras, and they can capture your real time, like your shirt.
It could basically watch my home office and just pick me up in the room. So there's a camera, like a security camera, effectively, that can go, oh, okay, this is Sam today. Let's take Sam and create today's avatar and drop him into the meeting, into the conference room.
You drop him into a chair like that, and now any of us with glasses or phones that hold him up would see you.
And if I've spilled half my lunch down me, they're still going to see that in the avatar if I want to.
Exactly.
I think that's actually quite important to actually have that realism, though, of when you do go to a meeting and you do spill coffee down you. Like, you know, it's too fake. You want that element of, especially for like work, and normal kind of meetings with, you know, you don't want to be, say, having meetings with pandas and crocodiles.
I don't know. Sometimes that might be better.
I mean, who doesn't want to do a proper scan of yourself in a suit and then just sit in your underwear all day? But
so this might not be too much different from the internet we have now, but let's say I live in the Magicverse for 10 years. I mean, it seems like you become very emotionally attached. Is this something that like a community will own? It's like I don't think Magicverse has any you're obviously trying to do amazing things to make people's lives better, but how do we ensure that after 10 years, if I can't afford to be in the Magicverse anymore, I don't get pulled out? Like, how do we? And is it open? Like, is this a network that only you control?
So I mean, that's a great question, by the way. And you'll, now that you're aware of this, if you start Googling like spatial web, there's a lot of companies trying to figure out how do we build the next generation of the internet without screens. Like, what does the internet look like in the real world web? What we're doing is we're partnering with companies to create those digital twins that are canonical, that will only change based on the current state of the real world, and then everyone else's applications get built on top of them, keeping the digital twins in sync and pristine and open, so that as new apps come along, they're just a new layer in there, and the developer can sell their game as a layer or give it away for free, you know, or whatever you want. So it'll have a lot of the same properties of the web, but it should maintain to be open and available on any device. Like we acknowledge that there's more mobile devices in the world today than Magic Leap glasses for now. And we want that to be a heterogeneous experience where everyone can participate. Just it'll be better on hands-free, fully censored, Magic Leap classes. That's a great question. Thank you.
Hi. So you mentioned about the work to enable the visually impaired to use this technology. And you also mentioned at the beginning of the talk about getting the brain to see that green dot. So is there, does that bypass the eyes? Do you think, are we near enabling blind people to see through this technology?
I don't know enough about the human eyeball to do it, but I love how you've connected those dots, so to speak. We're just getting started. Like these glasses just hit the street in August of 18. So we've already got a roadmap of what the next gen looks like. They get smaller and cooler, more powerful. I would love to see things like that. Like if it's projecting inside past the retina, could we enable blind to see? I don't know. And the live stream part that I talked about earlier, it's interacting with all of the experiences you have. So in the future, if doctors through AI learn that these symptoms are related to these emotions, are related to these you could go back in time through the live stream and play back get those readings or play back things you've experienced, life experiences.
I'm trying to frame this question. So you've succeeded in your goal as a business, and your platform is now globally implemented, and this is now augmenting reality. We have a layer of reality that's proprietary. Who does it belong to?
That's another thing that we discuss a lot. It belongs to the private entity that owns this space. So Latimer Estates should own the digital twins and the ownership and permissions of anything that gets built inside of here. Same with your home.
So the data.
The data should live in your home. The data should live in the private estate. If it's public, like walking down the streets of London, that would be public information. But if it's your live streams, your personal data interacting with that public digital twin, that's still private data that you own. That's the goal. So think about when I mentioned computes earlier about it being decentralized, distributed. I mean, there's even blockchain discussions that we're having, like how do we put you in control of all of that private data, and estates like this in control of owning the physical and digital twins of their entire physical space. This is a whole new world. It is.
If that's it, thank you very much, Chris.
You're very welcome, Dan.
Round of applause for Chris. Something Chris didn't mention that I'm really, really excited about with Magic Leap 1. You can write stuff with WebXR, can't you, Chris? So as a web developer, I can just go and write some... do you all know that I'm a web developer? You can just go and write some JavaScript and build something in an augmented reality.
In fact, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, WebXR. There's MagicScript is a JavaScript SDK that we just released that you can write native Magic, kind of like React Native that you were showing us yesterday. You can write native Magic Leap applications with JavaScript. They compile to native code and they run on the glasses. It's called MagicScript. And you can write like in Unity or Unreal and target other devices, kind of like a cross compiler. And there's other open source projects like ExoKit that you can write in Node.js and deploy on Magic Leap and other mobile devices or VR devices. So yeah, a lot of fun.
So there's loads of ways to get involved. The headsets, Chris, they're like, how much are they?
$2,300. There's like 0% financing, and they're creator edition. So the idea is that we're bringing this to thousands of developers. Remember the App Store, the iOS App Store? All the developers that had the first calculator apps, the first utility apps in those were millionaires overnight, right? I'm not saying that Magic Leap early developers will be millionaires, but think about it. It's an app store that has spatial apps in it. The good early apps are going to get a lot of traction as consumers come online. So it's a great time to learn, and it's a great time to be inventing new apps.
Sweet. Thank you very much.
Cool, thank you.
There's one announcement. There's actually two announcements. There's one important announcement that I forgot to tell you all earlier. Unfortunately, Giovanni, who was scheduled to be in the Dome first up this morning after Chris, is unable to be here. So everyone will be in here for Alan's talk. So no pressure, Alan. So that talk's going to be in here. There is no session in the Dome next. The second announcement. Yesterday I said we were filming in 4K and streaming in 4K. Due to a couple of technical difficulties yesterday, we were only streaming in 1080. Only. But if you go and look at the live stream today, it's in 4K, which I don't think anyone else has ever done in this industry. So I'm super proud of A, the technical team that we've got here, and B, of the ComCon team as a whole, that we've been able to do something really, really special and help maybe push everyone forward in this industry, giving the best content, best quality that we can. So best content, best quality for people that don't come to the conference. Yeah, they can have it on a nice 4K screen at home. But yes, Jason. Where is lunch? Lunch is where we had lunch yesterday, down in the Mansion House. That is where we're going to have lunch all of the time. They're not going to do it in here. Oh yeah, there is another announcement. Everything that's in my head at the moment. Jason's workshop was in here. So Rob's, Jason's, and Eliza. Sorry, Eliza, I said your name wrong yesterday. Was in here yesterday. Today, it's going to be in that area that everyone thought we were going to have lunch. So that's going to be in there. And then the hackathon later will be in here. Okay? But you're going to start in the Dome. Yes, thank you, Jason. Yeah, you don't want to be in my head right now. So that's it. We're 1 minute over, thanks to me. So everyone go have a break and then be back in for Alan's talk. Thank you very much. No round of applause today?
Morning.
How are you?
We made it. Streaming in 4K. No, actually.